Hey guys, welcome back to another Unreal Engine 4 tutorial. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to create objects like these, or platforms, which when the player stands on them, they're going to fall down, and then they'll slowly raise back up once the player gets off them as well. So these are quite good in 2D platformers, side scrollers, anything like that. You can see them used in Mario quite a lot, but I'll show you what it's going to look like now. Also, before I do that, this is quite a dynamic one, so it's quite advanced. So what we can do is, for each individual reference, this is one blueprint, each one we can change how big it is, so it's scale like this, its rotation like that, and also where it's going to end. So you can see we have one down here, so you see I can move where it will end like so. So it's end location like that, and this is all dynamic, different for each one, and it will actually use these values as well. Then if we hit play to get into this as well, you can see that when I'm on here, it's going to go down like this. When I'm on it, I get off, it's going to go back up again. Same with this one, and same with this one. They're all going to be the same, and if I get off, it's going to go all the way back up. And then also, if we select this again, dynamic for each one, we can change how long this takes. So we can change the duration here, which is in seconds. That's set to 5. If I put it to 10, this is going to take much longer to fall down. So again, you can change this for each one. So if you have a smaller gap in between, but you still want it to go down at the same speed as other ones, you just change the duration. So obviously that's going down further than this one. So I'll just make that one fall faster than this one. So we'll get right into it. So let me just delete these and then we'll start again. So what our first step is going to be is to create this blueprint for our object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click in my folder which I want to create it in. So right click, get a blueprint class and create this one to be an actor. I'm just going to call this moving object or platform BP. You can name this whatever you like. I'm going to open that up like so. And in here, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to add component and add a static mesh. And I'm going to call this one main platform. Main platform like so. Compile that. You can set the static mesh to be the cube. We're going to change this later on, but this will be just a good reference. I'm also then just going to set the scale to be 1.75, 1, and 0.25, like so. So we get this basic platform shape here. What I'm going to do is compile that and create another component. So deselect everything, add component, add another static mesh. This one I'm going to call end platform reference, like so. What I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to change its material and something else. So let me just move it down on the Z as well. So I'll just scale it to be 1.75, 1, 0.25, so it's the same. And I'll move it down on the Z by about 300. So minus 300, like so. Maybe put it up to minus 200, like so. Put the static mesh, again, to be the cube, or whatever you want your platform to be. Then in here, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to scroll down. Under the collision, I'm going to untick generate overlap events. Can character step up on? No. Collision presets, no collision. Then scroll down again. We're going to tick hidden in game and also untick cast shadow. So what it's going to do is it's going to be there purely for a reference for the developers. The player won't see it, won't collide with it, won't see shadow, anything like that. So as far as the player is aware, this doesn't exist. It's not there. It's only for us. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to minimize this, right click, create material. I'm going to call this one platform opacity matte and open that up. The reason we're doing this is because I want to be able to clearly tell which is the start and which is the end. So I'm just going to make this one a bit more opaque so you can see through it a bit more, just to clearly define that. So go back to this material here. Let me just correct the spelling. All we're going to do in here is we're going to hold down 3, left click to get a vector there, which is just a color node. Plug that to the base color. I'm just going to set this color to be a little bit of a gray color, like so. Then deselect that. The blend mode, what we're going to do is change it from opaque to translucent. And this then gives us the ability to mess about with this opacity here as well. So to mess about with that, we're going to hold down 1, left click to get a constant vector here. And we're going to change this to be 0.5. You can set this to whatever you like and plug in the opacity. 0 is fully transparent, 1 is you can fully see it. So choose a value anywhere between those. So I'm going to hit apply, hit save, and then go back to our moving platform BP. So we can close that, go back here. What I'm going to do is this material here, I'm just going to hit this arrow as I still have it selected. But if you don't, just choose our opacity material there. And you can see this is now see-through. But we can still see it, but it's slightly see-through. So it's just easier to tell which is which. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the main platform here. And I'm going to add another component. And this is going to be a box collision. So that's the box collision there. And I'm just going to scale this up to be the size that I want it to be. So make sure that this is the perfect size for you. And this is basically just where the player is going to be. So I want it to be just above the ground there. So essentially when the player is in this box, so they're touching this platform, it's going to go down. When they leave it, so they jump off, it's going to go back up again. So get that to be perfect for you. hit compile, save that. Next, we're going to go over to the construction script. And the reason we're doing this is because this is where we want to set it up so we can actually dynamically change all these different values in here that I showed you at the beginning. So what we're going to do first is we're going to allow the player to change the static mesh of this main platform here. And we're going to have it so it changes the end platform as well, just so they can clearly tell which is which. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag and drop a reference to our main platform static mesh in here, drag that in there, and we're going to do the same with the end platform. We'll do the main one first. So drag out of main platform, and we're going to set static mesh, like so. I won't plug in the construction script yet, as I don't want it to fire off just yet, because it will, as it does it every time this updates, and obviously when we're adding in more nodes, it's updating. New mesh here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, promote to variable, and just call this platform mesh, and then we're going to hit instance editable, or the little I next to it there. Compile that, and then what we can do is we can change its default value to be the cube, or whatever static mesh you have. And why we've promoted to variable and made it editable is so that the player, or the user, whoever's creating the game, can easily change it, so you can easily change it by selecting the blueprint. So if I drag it in here, you can see that we have this platform mesh here. So we can now change this to be whatever we like, and it will appear there. Well, it will when we connect it all up, but that's how that works, and that's why we're doing that. So we go back here, we're going to do this for everything else. So do the same for the end platform. So set static mesh, plugging that in there, and in this new mesh, we can just go back into this platform mesh that we made before, so it's the same one. Double click that to get some reroute nodes, like so. I'm going to do that for all of these, as I'm going to be using references to these quite a lot. After this, we want to set its scale. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of both of these, so I'll do the main platform first, drag out that reroute node that we've got there, or just out of the main platform object reference, and we're going to set relative scale 3D, plugging that in there like so. Again, I'll just get some reroute nodes like that. This new scale 3D, what I'm going to do is right click that, promote to variable, and just name this scale, again making sure to make it instance editable. And then this is the same thing, you can easily change scale, and what it's going to do is it's going to set the scale of this object static mesh here, which is obviously what we want. And then do the same with this. So the end platform, this time we can just connect that straight into the set relative there, we don't need to get another one. So that works perfectly like so. And what we're also going to do is the rotation. So drag out of one of these again, set relative rotation, plug that in there, exact same steps, right click new rotation, promote to variable, name this rotation, and you can name these whatever you like, but obviously scale and rotation make the most sense. Instance editable, compile and save. And then we're going to drag that one in there as well, so we have it for both of these, main object and the object reference. And one final one, we're going to come out with the end platform reference. So this is the top one for me. Only do it on this one, and this one is going to be set relative location. Plugging that in there like so. Now the only reason we're doing it on this one is because this is where we want the end location to be. So right click new rotation, promote to variable, and call this end location. Once again, instance editable. So this means the player, or you, sorry, can choose where to end it from moving. Compile and save, and now let's set some default values for these. So you see if we select these are all going to be 0. Obviously that's not what we want. So the scale, we're going to set it to what we set it as earlier as the default value. So you can put this as 111 if you have a proper mesh you like. But for me, I set it as 1.75, 1, 0.25, like so. And that'll be for both of them. Rotation, I'll leave as 0. End location, I'll just put minus 300 on the Z. So it's just a little bit below the main platform. And then that is basically this part done. So now if we connect this, we should see this working. So this means we can now dynamically set everything in here. So we can minimize this, drag in one here. You can see that we have all of these different values down here. So we can change the mesh. So if I set it to be a cylinder, you see it's become a cylinder like so. If I just want it to be this cube here, we can change its scale. So we can scale it up like so. So I'll just get it to be about this big. We can change its rotation if we wanted. So we can do this. And then we can also change the end location, which will move this one down here, which as you can see is slightly see-through. So I'm just going to move it down like so. So let me also move this to be where I want it to be, so we have one to start with. And actually what I'll do is I will put in all of them as well. So you can see this is very easy to customize and get perfect for you. And then I'm going to hold down Alt and drag off of this, so we can duplicate it like so. And then I'm just going to move this down a bit, like so, maybe move it over here again, scale this one up a bit maybe add a little bit of rotation to it as well, just because why not. And then I'll move it the end location to be up a bit so it's not through the floor. And then I'll do that one final time, moving it down here, end location up again, and then I'll scale this one down. So like that. Now you can see we have these platforms here. This isn't going to do any of the moving yet, but we set it up so we can dynamically change all of this good stuff here. The duration we'll do in a minute. So now what we're going to do is basically the final step, and that is setting it so we can move these down when we're on them. So to do that, we're going to go back to our object blueprint here, and then we're going to go over to the event graph like so. We'll delete the actor begin overlap and event tick, compile and save that. What we're going to do is we're going to right click on the box collision, add event, add on component begin overlap, right click on it again, add event, add on component end overlap. Other actor of both of these is going to be cast to our character. So for me, that is the third person character. For you, this could be third, first, or whatever you've named it. But just make sure you're casting to it out of the other actor, as that basically means if it is this character or this actor which overlaps its box collision, it's going to fire off. After this, what I want to do is we're going to right click, and we're going to add a timeline. So add timeline like so. And I'm just going to name this move platform, like so. We're going to double click this to open it up, and we're going to add a float track here. I'm just going to name this move track like so. I'll set the length of this to 1. Now, so we can make this dynamic, so we can change the duration, you're going to want to do this as well. So set the length to 1, add a key, time 0, value 0, right click, add key, time 1, value 1. We can press the zoom to fit horizontal and vertical there. So what this means is it's just going to go from the value of 0 to 1, and it will take 1 second to do that. So we can close that timeline there. Now you can see we have this move track here. Out of this, what we're going to do is we're going to get a lerp. This is going to be a lerp vector. So what this does is when it's getting the value between 0 and 1 of this timeline, that will be the alpha, and then that will get the value between A and B. So it's going to take 1 second to go from A to B. So let's set up those values here as well. So B is obviously going to be our end location, as we want to go from start to end. Then A, like I say, is going to be start. So we need to make that. So we hit the plus variable here. We'll call this start location, and we'll change that to be a vector. This one doesn't need to be editable, as this won't be changing. But if it does change, it will change dynamically anyway, because the start is just going to be where this platform is, which we're not moving. So to set this, well, let me just put it in here first. So put it in A. So it's going to go from the value of the start to the end. So we're going to come up here, and off of event begin play, we're going to set start location like that. We're going to drag and drop a reference to our main platform here, come out of this, and we're just going to get relative location and plug that in there. So what it's going to do is it's just when we start the game, it's going to get the location of the main platform and set that to be the start location, as that's obviously where it is. And that's all we need to do with that. Come back down here, and now you can see that will work. So then to actually move it, what we need to do is we need to drag and drop a reference to our main platform again, drag out of this, and we're going to set relative location. Plug that into the update. The new location of this will be the return value of that lerp there. So now what this is going to do is it's going to get the value between 0 and 1 on the timeline, and every time it is getting the new value, it will set the main platform location to be between the start and end location dependent on where the value is in the timeline. So then to be able to dynamically change the length of this, so instead of having to go in, change the length there, what we're going to do is we're going to close that again, and I'm going to drag and drop a reference to this timeline. So it's under the components on the bottom left here, move platform. I'm going to get that, I'll put it down here, I'm going to drag out of this, we're going to set play rate. So set play rate like that, plug that into the cast there, and then out of this we'll go into the play like so. I'm going to duplicate that, plug it into the bottom cast, and then this one will go into the reverse, making sure the target goes in there like so. So what this is going to do is it's going to play and reverse. So play is obviously going to go forwards, reverse will go backwards, and it will go from wherever the value is in the timeline already. Meaning if we get halfway down and we get off, it won't go to the bottom and go up, it will go from where it is and then go back up. And it won't take the full length again, it will just go from wherever it is and take the correct amount of time to do that. So then to actually set the rate, which is the speed, what we're going to do is I'm going to create a new variable, so hit plus variable here, and I'm going to name this duration in seconds, so brackets in seconds, like that. And we're going to make sure that this is a float, which is a numerical value with a decimal place in it. Compile and save that. I'm going to set the default value to be 5, so it will take 5 seconds by default. And what we can do is we can just drag and drop that in there, so get duration in seconds. Out of this, what we're going to do is we're going to get a float divided by a float. Return value of that will go into the new rate there. So both of the new rates like that. Move that over. And this duration actually wants to go into the bottom value, and the top value wants to be 1. So what we're doing is we're getting 1 divided by the duration we want, and that'll be the new play rate. So now this should work perfectly. So what we're doing is we're going to be setting how fast we want the timeline to play at, and then play the timeline, which will then move the platform. And we're going to be doing this, so if we get on, it will go down. When we get off, it will go back up again. So compile, save that. Now, as we've already put them in, we should be able to test this and see it working. So actually, let's also change the duration. So if we select these again, we need the duration. So actually, if we go back to our blueprint here, we need to tick instance editable there, compile and save. Now we should be able to see we have duration in seconds there. So that one will take 5 seconds. I'm going to make this one take 3 seconds, and this one take 1 second. So now they should be perfect, like so. Now we hit play to test this. You see we can move around. We can get onto this one. It's going to go down. If I can get onto this one, it's also going to go down. If I get on this one, it will also go down. You can see they got quicker each time. I got off that one, and it went back up. So you see if I get off this one, so I get on, sorry, take it all the way down to the bottom, it's going to take 5 seconds. And it stopped. If I get off, it's going to go back up like so. And it will take 5 seconds to get back up as well. So that works perfectly. So I think that'll be it for this video, as we've done everything we wanted to do. We've created a moving platforms system in which we can dynamically set each of the values on it. So we can set its scale, rotation, end location, and how long we want it to take to go down. And we can do that on multiple ones. And when we get on, it will go down. When we get off, it will go back up again. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, make sure to like, subscribe down below. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.